Well, the 2017 starters are in the book, so now it's time to talk about the reserves. Now, again, you got to know that the coaches are selecting the reserves, and they're going to select 2 guards, 3 forwards, and 2 flex players. So what we're going to do here is we're going to give you our picks and maybe throw in an injury suggestion in case the commission needs a little bit of help. So let's get started. In the Eastern Conference, I've got Kyle Lowry, Isaiah Thomas as my guards. In the forward position, I'm going Paul George, Kevin Love, Carmelo Anthony. My flex is John Wall and Joel Embiid. Now, let's talk about him. Kyle Lowry, Toronto Raptors, having a great season. Great seasons generally yield multiple All-Stars. Kyle Lowry gets in. Isaiah Thomas has been amazing and maybe had a real case to be a starter, so he gets in pretty easily. Paul George, maybe down a little bit from what you would expect from a Paul George, but still one of the best forwards in the Eastern Conference. He gets in. Now, the Carmelo Anthony vote here is going to maybe upset a few people because, look, the Knicks aren't good and Carmelo's caught up in drama, but when you think about All-Stars, Carmelo Anthony is an All-Star in this league. He makes the roster. And then my last forward, Kevin Love, when you look at what the Cleveland Cavaliers did, not only last year, but this year, and the way that they're playing in the season that Kevin is having, he's an All-Star in every measure, and he makes the roster. Now, John Wall, maybe I'm a little guard heavy. Maybe I could have went a little bit outside the box, maybe gone on Jabari Parker, but John Wall has been the engine that's made the Washington Wizards go, and he's been amazing. And now Joel Embiid, look, normally a rookie doesn't make the All-Star team, but the season that Joel is having and the fact that he's doing it on limited minutes and the way that he's changing the game, and hey, we need a big man in the All-Star game, why not Joel Embiid? This will be great for the fans, it'll be great for the Sixers, and I think Joel's put up a season that's more than justified. Now, on the injury suggestion, I'm going to go Kemba Walker. And again, maybe a little guard heavy. Somebody goes down. Kemba Walker is having an all-star season. The problem is his team's not helping him out very much. And that kind of dings you in the all-star process. And what we've seen the commissioner do with the injury suggestion or the injury replacement is kind of clean it up. So for me, if somebody goes down, Kemba Walker should be in.
My 3 backcourt players in the Eastern Conference are Isaiah Thomas, Kyle Lowry, and John Wall. When you look at Isaiah Thomas, second in the league in scoring, and he's had several clutch moments this season for the Boston Celtics. Kyle Lowry, his teammate DeMar DeRozan, voted a starter by the fans, and combined together, the Raptors have one of the best backcourts in the league. And then John Wall averaging career highs in points and assists. I think he's been one of the most fascinating players to watch in the NBA this season. And then my 2 frontcourt players, Kevin Love and Paul George. I think Kevin Love is finally starting to find his way on that Cavaliers team. And then Paul George sort of having a down year by his standards, but his down year is definitely a year that most players would love to have. So I think he's done enough to get into the game as well. My 2 alternates for the Eastern Conference, Kemba Walker and Paul Millsap. Walker's having a career season, and the Hornets' success is largely placed on him. I think he finally gets in, and Paul Millsap, we've seen one of the best two-way players in the league. So those are my Eastern Conference reserve players.
For my Eastern Conference reserves, I've decided to even the teams out. We're going to have 6 guards. We're going to have 6 members of the front court. The additional guards I'd add to the starters we've already seen are going to be Kyle Lowry, Kemba Walker, Isaiah Thomas, and John Wall. I think Lowry should have had the starting nod over his teammate DeMar DeRozan, but as the voting didn't seem to go that way, I put Lowry in as my first reserve for the Eastern Conference team. He absolutely deserves to be there. The other 3, Walker, Thomas, and Wall, there could be debate for each of the 3, but they've been very close together in my opinion. I would keep them in that range. As my forwards, I would add 3 to the 3 that we've already seen voted in. The 3 I would add would be Kevin Love, Paul Millsap, and Paul George. Those looking at the teams that my players play for can see a theme here. Within the Eastern Conference, I've definitely picked and leaned towards players that are on winning teams. Giannis Antetokounmpo would be the only member of my team who does not currently play for an NBA squad that's in the playoffs today. I think that should be valued a little bit more highly than we typically do within the All-Star team. That's been my primary goal here. The reason you see a guy like Love, who's flown a bit under the radar in Cleveland despite being fantastic, is because he's really contributed to the winning product the Cleveland Cavaliers have put on the floor. The same can be said for Paul George. He's had a bit of a down year compared to his usual standard, but the Pacers are still in the playoffs, and he is by far the biggest reason for that. For that reason, I'm picking him as one of my Eastern Conference reserves.